Fantastic. Thank you, Lucy. And hello, everyone. Welcome and thanks a lot for joining. This is definitely a hot topic because we had more than 40 registrants. So we won't wait for everybody and just go ahead because I think we have a lot to go through. Today we're hosting a lunch and learn with Greg Burke. He's the CEO and co-founder of Tellet, and his colleague Leah Harnish, who is the customer success manager. And they're going to walk us through how AI moderated Qual research works in practice, and show you about the Tellet platform and also share how you could actually get started and collaborate. We'll have some time for questions on the end. So please, you can leave your questions in the chat during the whole talk, or you could just go live, put your video on and your sound on in the end, and ask questions to Greg and Leah directly. So yeah, let's start. And over to you, Greg.
Thanks very much, Barbara. Hi, everybody. Welcome, and thanks for that kind introduction. So, yeah, I'm Greg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Tellet. Super excited to be back at the ICG again today. So, what I'm going to do is I'll share maybe if I'll talk about our agenda. There's not going to be a demo as such today. I suppose the point is that if people are interested, then what the plan was, we'll set up another demo. It can really go into the nuts and bolts of the platform. I know some of you have already had a demo in the past, but we're a Dutch company, so we love an agenda. So what is our agenda? So we'll sort of talk a little bit about us. What is Tellet, our approach, and then we've got an offer for the ICG, and then we can talk about the next steps for those people who might be interested in that offer. So, what is Tellet? Tellet is a platform that uses AI to both moderate and then analyze qualitative research interviews, although really it kind of sits at the convergence of both quant and qual. We've been doing this now for almost 3 years. And really, we're becoming the engine that kind of powers AI moderated qual for some really fantastic agencies, consultancies, enterprises, and indies. And like I said, we're a Dutch business. Although I'm clearly not Dutch myself. I'm a Brit who's been living here in Amsterdam for 6 or 7 years. And we're a team of about 20 people who are almost all based here in Amsterdam, but with a few people in Serbia. And I suppose the most important thing I want to say from the get-go is we think Tellet is brilliant, right? Obviously, we've been working really hard on it for the past 3 years. Um, it's really fantastic. But what I would also say is that it's not as good as you, right? It is not a direct replacement for an hour-long IDI where you're kind of sat in the room with someone, or even over a Zoom call, and you can like read the whites of their eyes. But what our clients are finding it really, really useful for is a few things. One is actually kind of opening up the potential of qual, and for those clients who ordinarily just would never have had the budget to do traditional qual. And then there are obviously some really other, obvious useful benefits around speed, affordability, languages. Languages is really, really key for lots of our clients. Lots of our clients are doing very large multi-market studies, and the language capabilities come in. So just to put a bit of context, like, so what, why are we here today? It actually was born out of a conversation I had with a friend of mine who's a freelance quali, and he's actually just relatively recently gone freelance after a long time at an agency. And we were chatting, and he was saying, "Look, I know that I want to have an AI moderated qualitative research tool in my toolkit. So can we chat?" And so we got chatting about how we might be able to work together. And we was like, "Well, look, how about if you bring if you can find bring in some projects for us, then perhaps this could be a really useful two-way relationship." And so that's what we started doing with my pal. And we were going, actually, maybe this is useful and interesting for other people as well. And then my brain instantly went to the ICG, given we've presented before. And so that's really what today is about. And like I say, we'll talk a little bit about our approach in a minute. But I suppose, just to put a bit of context around AI moderated research, I think, if we sort of, things have moved on, I think, quite a lot, actually. If this slide here is the sort of, is actually an old slide of mine. This is the slide that we would always give a presentation about a year or two ago, where we would actually have to do a lot of explaining around what AI moderated research was, about what the benefits were, where you might want to use it, why we thought it was an interesting and useful part of where research was headed. It actually feels like, and we would say, obviously surveys fantastic because they offer you that breadth and depth, but interviews, like, brilliant for that richness, but sometimes budget didn't allow, timeframes didn't allow. And so, in our view, Tellet gives you a bit of the best of the both worlds. But really, we would say, actually, that it feels like the market has really kind of like moved on. The conversation has moved on, and it's not now, okay, is AI moderated research going to play a part in? Actually, it feels like that has now moved on, and we are really seeing mass adoption of AI moderated research across lots of different agencies and clients. And I suppose that, there are different approaches to this, right? I think maybe, and competing views starting to emerge. There are a wave of AI platforms that have been built, really, I think, with the idea that kind of agencies, consultancies, arguably, researchers are almost a problem to be solved around. And that they're trying to bypass that model entirely. And we see it very, very differently. Our perspective is that the AI should, amplify human judgment, not erase it. So really keeping people at the heart of research, their empathy, their ethics, their instincts. So very much human-led and AI-powered. We are already seeing, right, AI dramatically increasing the speed and scale, and the speed at which we can get to that insight. But we really firmly believe that strategic research still requires expertise, right? So, and removing researchers from that process, well, then you risk having poorly designed studies. So we firmly believe that future is a combination of AI with researchers and agencies working together. So next up is kind of really, if like I say, I'm not going to give a full demo, but there are some really useful things, I think, to know. So if we were going to take away 5 things about Tellet, so that you have a good sense of what we're about, that they are really these. It's around that we're voice first and video, but voice and video, but really in opposition to text. So we know that when our interviewees speak their answer rather than type it, they will typically give answers that are 300% longer. They'll be way more emotive, way more spontaneous, way more descriptive, and hopefully just much more useful. So that's why we really lean into voice and video. We can also capture images. So really great for ethnographic research. So participants can take a photo, and then our platform is able to analyze the visual contents of that photo as well, and then ask the AI can then ask a unique dynamic probing question based upon what it's seen, or indeed what it's heard rather. And because it's voice and video first, actually, we find that the participants and the interviewees actually really love it, right? So in an era when maybe participant engagement is in a bit of a crisis in the industry, we found actually that the participants really enjoy this methodology, genuinely kind of enjoying the experience. And some of the things that crop up time and time again is the sentiment, is this idea that actually, because the AI is responding dynamically to them, that they feel like it feels much more engaging. It actually feels like they're being listened to and heard. And back to my earlier point where I was saying, it's not as good as you, right? It's not a like for like replacement for a human quality. It just isn't. But there are some really interesting occasions when arguably it can have a greater advantage. So what we have found is then in instances where perhaps around sensitive topics like around healthcare or finance, when the we have then heard from the participant that they've told, so they go, actually I felt like I could maybe be a bit more open and honest because the conversation wasn't being mediated by another person. So really, really interesting. Did a fascinating study with an agency in the UK last week on antisocial behavior and the perpetrators of antisocial behavior, and very sort of and really interesting topic. And again, they asked them about how they felt being interviewed by an AI on this topic, and they said actually I felt like I could probably be a bit more open and honest. So that's around voice and video first, and then speed. I'm going to come back off this. This slide's going to give everyone a migraine, but it is, but it's fast, right? Super fast. So we're able to turn around projects really very quickly. In some instances, we've done interviews with 100 people in just a few hours. So that speed, obviously very very quick to develop a discussion guide, have that out in field, and then have the results instantly analyzed. And then I think super important actually for this conversation that it's researcher led, right? So actually we've built the platform really in collaboration with our clients, such that we're building it to solve as many of their challenges as possible. And just how we like to work as a company is in real collaboration with the researchers that we work with. So it's like actually, so the feedback, we love that feedback around making, how do we make the platform even better, and help it such that we enable you to win more projects or get more done. And then language is really, really important for lots of our clients. So it works in 64 languages. So the participants can choose what language they do the interview, and you write your discussion guide in your language of choice, but then they get to determine what language they do the interview in. So obviously brilliant for multi-market studies, but also actually just great for people for whom, I'm an Englishman living in the Netherlands. I wish my Nederlands were beter, but my Nederlands is niet zo goed. So doing a study in Dutch is not my preferred method. So yeah, just really great for inclusion and making sure that every voice can go heard. And then a final point, perhaps not the most exciting, but a really really important one for all of our clients, is around compliance, risk, and GDPR. So we're a European company. We are based in the Netherlands. We are governed by the laws of GDPR. And so in it, from a GDPR perspective, we're a processor. Our end clients are the controller. We do the processing with Microsoft Azure, and the reason why we do that is that it means that we can guarantee that none of the data that we collect on behalf of your clients is then ever used to train any models. Quick bit on use cases. So what are our clients using Tellet for? And I think it's one of the most common questions actually. It's like, right, okay, where does this fit into our workflows and into our toolkit? Where should we be offering this up? And really, it kind of sits in both in this kind of in this way, both both in the explorative phases and then in the evaluative phases. So in that kind of explorative phase, in that kind of strategic work, so big kind of landscape pieces. So done lots of studies on GLP-1 drugs or snacking, and so on and so forth. And then exploring different brand positioning and usage and attitudes, and then customer experience. I'm not not going to go into a huge detail here because it's but we also, just so you know, we have a sister product called Tellet Embed, and Tellet Embed it embeds directly into your client's existing survey software. And what it seeks the challenge that it seeks to solve is those not hugely useful 1 or 2 word answers to open ends in surveys. And so it embeds directly into existing survey software, and then again allows the participants to respond to those open ends with voice, with video, with images, or text as well, if you allow it, and digs deeper on those open ends to really kind of get into the so that when you're kind of presented with, okay, you've given it a 3 out of 10, explain your decision, rather than it just kind of being price. That our AI can then dig deeper into the motivations behind the answers that they've given. So that's in that explorative phase, and then in the evaluative phase. So kind of ad and creative testing, concept testing, packaging tests, and so within the platform, you can upload different stimulus. So it might be an image, a concept. It could be a video, and you can upload multiple stimulus, and then you can also rotate them to mitigate for recency bias, and so on and so forth. So like I say, this is not designed to be a full demo. Talk about that for anyone who is interested in learning more. What I thought we'd do is set up a separate session so I can go through it in detail and really show you the platform. But just wanted to share this offer with you, really. So and our pricing. So and how our business model works, and see if it adds any value for you. So our standard pricing for a Tellet project is a platform fee of €750, and then it's €25 per completed and analyzed interview. That doesn't include recruitment and incentives, obviously. And so what we thought we would extend this offer to anyone who was interested. Was like, okay, well, if you were to win a project with one of your clients using Tellet, then we would give a partner reward from that €750 platform fee for your first project of a partner reward of €500, and then a further additional 250 partner reward for each then additional project in 2026. The recruitment would remain your responsibility, and we can show you how we the different ways that we work with different recruiters, or indeed panels, and in a further call. And I suppose that would be the partner reward for that project. But equally, it's you could also add on your own margin to a particular project as well. So what happens next? Well, hopefully fairly straightforward. You can simply just let us know if that's something that you're interested in. So you can just email info@tellet.ai, or you can drop me an email directly. My email is Greg, so GREG @tellet.ai. Just let us know if you're interested. And then for those who are interested, what we'll do is we'll set up a group session where we can give a proper demo, really talk through the platform in detail, so you can see how the platform works in practice. We can talk you through some of those use cases. We can talk you through how recruitment is handled, get you up to speed quickly, and then of course ask lots of questions. There's always lots of questions, and so we're super happy to answer them as we go through. So yeah, and in general, kind of make it as easy as possible for you to get started. So I was told to leave a good amount of time for questions. I think I have. We've got 10 or 11 minutes, so I think we're good. So yeah, really happy to answer any questions that you might have. Oh.
Mute.
Sorry. Sorry. Thank you, Greg. A lot. So as said, please, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or just go online. And if there aren't, I do have some questions for Greg. So Greg, you said that it's also possible for respondents to add pictures during the chat, and then you sort of can probe on the images they send. Have I understood that correctly?
Sorry, say that again. That they can that they
That
can.
if you have an during the interview, respondents can upload a video or an image, and then the platform will sort of probe on that image.
If yeah, on an image, yeah, absolutely, yeah. So we're able to, yeah. So if so, as a real life example, um, we had a study that was a real kind of on fast food, and so the question, or in fact the instruction, really was to the participant is go and grab a pen and paper, and um, and then tell us, or draw a picture of what comes to mind when we say the words fast food. And so they then kind of drew these pictures, and then took a photo of the image, and then uploaded the image. And then our system is able to, as long as the image, as long as the drawing is half decent, it can then recognize what it's seen in the image. So as you can imagine, saw quite a few kind of the golden arches of McDonald's and things like that. Other times, we've worked with telecoms companies, and they've wanted to see um, uh, where their customers were storing their modems and their Wi-Fi routers in that kind of tangle of cables under the stairs and things like that.
Cool. And is it also because I think your platform also offers analysis options? So after all the interviews have been done, is there also part of that analysis sort of included in there, or can you do any further analysis, or then is it also sort of some old-fashioned Qual work to
Oh yeah,
analyze all the
yeah.
pictures and potentially also can people also upload videos?
Yeah, absolutely. So they can answer with video. We treat video slightly differently, and they're not analyzing the contents of the visuals of the video. But in terms of the analysis that then comes as part of the platform, has a number of elements. So obviously, we provide you with all of the transcripts. Those transcripts can be translated from one of 64 languages back into whichever language you like. You've obviously then got the media, so whether it's voice notes or videos, and they are all downloadable as well. That's all exportable as well, so you can export all of those uh, transcripts as a CSV file. We know that lots of our friends at the ICG as well, big fans of things like Coloop, and so yeah, it works really well with Coloop as well. In addition to those transcripts, then what we'll do is provide an overview of the entire study, then an analysis on a question by question basis. So we build things like code frames for each question asked, summaries. We'll pull out the patterns and trends, the divergent views and the outliers, always linking back to the verbatims themselves. Then obviously you have the transcripts, and then finally you've got AI search. And so AI search, what it allows you to do in effect is, as you can imagine, talk to your data. So ask questions to your data, and we do that using something called a vect database, so that yeah, you can say, okay, right, did anybody mention sustainability? And then it will pull through all of the quotes related to and in connection to the theme of sustainability.
And then you can also analyze, like, I don't know, maybe compare differences between what the Dutch and the English said about sustainability.
Yeah, so we also have inbuilt screener questions. So and the screener questions really serve two purposes. So you can one, obviously screen people out if and make sure that you're speaking to the right people, but also such that you can ask questions at the beginning of the interview that we're not screening anybody out. Perhaps it's around, I don't know, gender or location or any other variable, and then you can, once the interviews are completed, create filters and then filter the results based upon the filters that you've set. And that can also, you can also create those filters based on any metadata or demographic data that you might already have on those participants. Perhaps if you're working with a panel, you might have some of that data already attached. Some of our clients also want to send a Tellet out to their existing customers, so they'll distribute it via an email. And obviously they have some of that demographic data or any kind of customer data within the CRM, and they can then map those that details using a participant ID, for example.
Ah, nice. Um, Completely different question. I think so. The recruitment is not part of what you do. So I guess you can just bring your own respondents. Do you have any best practices on recruitment or panels that people might use? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So like I say, you can we work with more like traditional recruits, but also with panels, and we can plug into any panel. We tend not to. We have a kind of a small number of panels that we typically work with most often, and that will depend on um, uh, location. Where is this study taking place? But it's the likes of Prolific, Respondent, Sago, Norstat, people like that. So we've sort of we now have built up a really good sense of actually right. Okay, so when a brief comes into us, where is the best place to go and do the recruit from? Additionally, if it's a B2B study as well, then we've kind of got our preferred partners that we typically go to. And for anyone then, yeah, who's interested and in kind of having that demo and then talking through how we do that, yeah, we can talk through exactly who we typically deal with and how that works.
exactly. So you don't have your own panel, but you can definitely like advise on what are best
Yeah,
practices,
yeah,
what might.
absolutely. Yeah. It's really interesting as well, right? Given that it's, this, like I say, it's not quant, it's not traditional qual. It is this hybrid method. And in our experience, you pay, you get what you pay for, right? So that's why, yeah, we have our preferred suppliers, who we go to time and time again.
Cool. I think a final question. You also talked about Tellet embed,
Yeah.
more on the quant side of things. So are there specific survey platforms, like the bigger ones, where you sort of have an established connections, or can you connect it to any platform you might use?
Yeah, so far, yeah, we've been able to connect it to all of our all of the survey platforms. So yeah, that's yeah, so far it's been used across a variety of different survey
Can you give a few names, maybe, of like the
uh,
bigger ones?
Dimensions, Decipher, yeah, all of those bigger players. So it's a really interesting area of growth for us. And we're sort of embedding those into quite large scale brand trackers, and I'm really seeing really fantastic results. So it's a key, yeah, really really interesting area for us.
Cool. Well, I think we are exactly on time. So if you have any questions or if you want a further demo, please reach out to Greg. And thank you very much for a great session.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and thanks everyone for turning up. I really appreciate it. It was nice to see some familiar faces there as well. So really lovely to see you all. And like I say, if you're at all interested, yeah, email info@tellet.ai, or drop me an email. And what we'll do is we'll set up a group session with plenty of time, so you can ask loads of questions, and we can talk through the platform and get you up to speed.
Fantastic. Thanks, Greg.
Pleasure.
Thank you,
Thanks so much,
Elia.
everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you
Bye.
so much. Bye.
Thanks, everybody.